Hello all, my name is Urmi and I want to welcome you all to my channel. In this channel I talk about career, public speaking, personal branding. I also provide tips on how to learn a language as well as how to succeed on the CFA exams. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe, like, comment and share with whoever might find the content useful. So in today's video, I want to talk about 5 mistakes that you want to avoid when you're studying for the CFA exams. And these are mistakes that I have seen among some of my friends and some that I have also committed myself. So I think these 5 mistakes will be very useful for anyone who is taking the CFA exam. So the first mistake that you want to avoid when you're studying for the CFA exam is that you don't want to start too late. So what I mean by that is that often when we are signing up for the CFA exam, we usually have, I would say, 8 to 9 months time to prepare. But often people actually start preparing towards the last 2 months or maybe the last 3 months, thinking that they have enough time. I suggest that you don't do that. I suggest that you actually start as soon as possible to study for the CFA exams, because everyone has a different learning curve and everyone usually is a full-time worker. So if you have other obligation, other commitments, I highly suggest that you start studying as soon as possible and that you give yourself that extra buffer of time in case sometimes you're not able to study, you're not able to go over a reading, you're too tired, you have too much work, and as we have seen, unexpected things happen. So you want to make sure that you start as soon as possible and you give yourself that extra buffer time. Then the second mistake that you want to avoid is skipping some of the readings. And I know that there are a lot of readings, but I think it's very important that you cover all of them, especially because if they're there, it means that anything is highly testable. So I highly recommend that you go over through all the readings and that you do not skip any of them. I know that life happens and unexpected things happen, and if at any moment you're not able to go over a reading or so, I highly recommend that you practice it, or that you try to read the summary and try to learn the reading through practicing or just reading the summary. But do not go to the exam where you have skipped some of the readings, because it could cost you a lot basically. The third mistake that you want to avoid is leaving ethics toward the end. And basically, I think ethics is very important, and it could be a little bit boring when you are going over the reading. But I think with ethics, what you want to do is that you actually study or practice ethics throughout the study session. So if you're studying throughout 6 months, you want to make sure that you are revising ethics pretty much every day or once in a while. But it's something that you have to constantly practice, because it's not a mathematical calculation. It's you making sure that you understand what are the ethical requirements, what you need to comply with the ethics and with the rules and regulation and so forth. And ethics, you don't want to leave it towards the end, but you want to make sure that you're practicing ethics throughout your study session. Then the fourth mistake you want to avoid is you want to make sure that you're practicing enough. And I think practicing is probably the key to succeeding to the CFA exams, because yes, we can all listen to a lecture, we can all read, but I think practicing is what will make you a successful person to pass in the exam. And I think when it comes to practicing, you want to make sure that you're practicing from different sources. So of course you have whatever the CFA Institute provides you. You have a lot of problems in the curriculum, you have a lot of problems they give you a lot of mock exams, and you also have a lot of problems in the CFA Institute website. You want to make sure that you practice all of them, but most importantly, you want to make sure that you're diversifying your sources of practice problems. So there are a lot of CFA third-party providers, and you want to make sure that you're buying materials from them. I think those are very good materials. You have materials from IFT, Mark Meldrum. You want to make sure that you're practicing from different sources, and I think the more you practice, the better you will become. And lastly, the last mistake that you want to avoid, or the last tip that I want to give you, is that when you are practicing the mock exam, you want to make sure that you are actually taking those mocks as you are taking the real exam. You want to make sure that you're timing yourself. You want to make sure that you are in a room that is that it's quiet, you have no distraction, and you want to make sure that you're actually taking the exam as if it was real, as if you're actually sitting for the exam, and take it very seriously. And also make sure to mark the points on how much you're getting, because it will give you sort of like a benchmark, or it will help you to see what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. And also it will give you an idea of how much time you're spending when you are completing each of the questions. And I think this is so important, especially when you go to level 3, where it's very time sensitive, and you want to make sure that you are able to complete the exam within the allocated time. And that's so important, because it doesn't matter how many hours we study, but if you're not able to complete the exam within the time, then you're probably not going to pass. So these are all the 5 mistakes that I wanted to share. If you have any comments or anything that you want to know from me, please make sure to leave a comment, and I'll be more than happy to answer you back. So hopefully this was useful, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.